You may not know, but we're in a war. But it's a different kind of war. It's a war against concrete and steel. As city sprawl moves into our neighborhoods, through our towns, and into the countryside, chewing up farms and forest. This might sound like a good idea to some of you, but is it really? We're going to talk about that today. Hi, I'm David Thompson, and I'm driving us in the Jeep to one of my favorite overlooks in my area. Now, what I see today is nowhere near what I saw 10 years ago. The landscape has changed dramatically as more and more homes were built on farmland and forested areas. Now, to many people, this isn't a big problem, but it is to me. My town is a small town. The highway I'm on, and it is a state road, is a two-lane road built probably in the 1950s. Back then, there weren't a lot of cars. Not anywhere near the amount of cars we have here today. And of course, the more homes you build, the more cars there are, the more traffic there is, and the more problems you have. But that's not the extent of the issue here. The issue is that what was once pristine land has now been soiled by fairly ugly homes in cul-de-sac neighborhoods. And we're going to head to that spot that I'm talking about right now. Now you can see the beauty that is here right outside of town, the farmland that stretches as far as the eye can see. One house here. And you can see it's a hazy morning, a beautiful, cool, hazy morning here in my hometown. But things have gone wrong. Somehow we forgot what it should look like in lieu of making money, in lieu of building more homes, in lieu of making more people come to this area. And of course, crowd our schools, crowd our roads, and destroy our landscapes. Now you can see here as I pull on, you're seeing some of it now. Now you can see that this is a vast amount of land here. Some homes that have been here for quite a long time. And there still is some trees up on this ridge road, which kind of extends right out of borough proper here and goes into the next township. Now I've come here to this place of solitude for me many times in my life. It's not far from the cemetery my family's buried in. It's not far out of my hometown. But I come here because it was such a beautiful spot to take a look at countryside as far as the eye could see. Unfortunately, all that farmland I just showed you is turning into this. Now you can probably see through the haze all these cul-de-sac of homes. Now that's just one plan, my friends. There's more to the left and to the right. There's one plan I don't even want to go to because the houses look so close, it feels like I'm being swallowed up by shadow. But I digress. What happened to us, folks? You see, there are problems when we deal with destroying the environment, destroying our land, the overdevelopment. Okay, while I'm here, just so happens that they're building more homes on this once pristine road. Okay, see this development? They're going to build homes right here. And they're patio homes. I can't afford them. Here, I want to make this point, my friends. What they're building, and there's the house that's been there quite a while. What they're building are homes that I can't afford. I don't know who can. But I digress. So here we go. Basement patio homes. Learn more. Scan the code. And you can see right over the hill, across from Ridge Road here, is what once was a totally pristine farmland that I showed you now is being developed faster than we can shake a stick at it. Okay, we're back in the Jeep here. So what's my issue? People always ask me, David, why do you have a problem with that? Why do you have a problem with everything? Well, maybe it's because we're getting farther and farther from our roots, farther and farther from the way things should be. You see, there's no such thing in America as urban planning anymore. Not really. Now, I'm going to put a website link in the description box to All But Bikes. I think that's the name of the video channel. My son turned me on to that. And it's about what people do in other countries to make it better for the environment and for people. How to build malls and roads, how to build homes, where to build them, how to make it less congested. So check out that link in the description box. I digress there. Okay, so what happens with these homes? You saw one grouping of homes. There's multiple ones. And they keep building as farms that were once farms. And this is sad. People had farms for years, family farms across this county. It was a farming county. But now it's more of a right-wing, let's build it up and take everything down and make money county. Yeah, that's what it is. So we're going to take every spot of land we can and build. Let's build. Drill, baby, drill, right, Donald? And this really reflects our president. He has no care for environmental issues, none, zero. Zero. He doesn't care about anything except making money. And the sad thing is he's got many followers who have bought that narrative. Bought it. Hook, line, and sinker. You know, they're being pulled along. But people like me realize that, yeah, there's one cul-de-sac community here. Then there's another. Then there's another. It affects your power. Affects your water and sewage. Costs go up. We had to basically add on to our treatment plant here, our sewage treatment plant in this area. I forget how much it was, but it was in the tens of millions to do that. We had to do that because, wow, there's not enough of it. The infrastructure for power, the power grid, has not been upgraded. So the more homes you build and the more plazas you build, the more drain on that system. Did you know that the United States is basically hand-to-mouth with basically the electricity it makes and uses? Hand-to-mouth. And there's no real fix to that. In fact, that could get worse. I digress there. Well, what does that mean for me and you? That means more outages, more expensive power, more expensive sewage, water. You only can treat so much water. The more water you consume, of course, the more trouble you can have in the future. The more you pollute that water. Now there's a guy cutting this lawn up here, which maybe bothers people too, that they have to pay for someone to cut this pasture. Isn't that a shame? There used to be cattle on this pasture. And I'm digressing there. He's moving on. Okay, so there's all these other issues. And let's talk about school districts. Our school district's huge, and it encompasses many townships. Now, as more and more homes come in, more and more children, although there isn't that many children per family anymore, even if you have one or two per family, you add up all these people coming in, the schools aren't big enough. There's not enough teachers. We're finding that out here. We just built a new middle school. We're remodeling another elementary school. It did need remodeled, but it's being remodeled for more and more children. Our high school was over capacity. The size of the classes are going to go hyperbolic here in the next few years. I'm told by teachers who I talk to, and I work at the library here, I'm told by teachers I talk to that it's crazy. Some of the teens who work at the library going to college said it's getting more and more difficult for them to have teachers, for them to be taught properly because there isn't enough teachers to go around. The classes are too big. This degrades our educational system. We already know that. We already know that we're years behind almost every other country in the world. Why? Because we don't put any emphasis on it, because we're just going to throw people in a school and it's a checkbox. Check it off, we got them through school. That's all that they care about. And of course, the kids now that are the super geniuses, 15 years ago would have been mediocre. It's the way it works. You talk about the testing and how things were taught even 20 years ago, much different. Kids aren't the geniuses you think they are today, because if they were, we wouldn't be having the issues we have with technology. The STEM programs are a disaster in America. Now, how does this affect what I'm talking about today? How does this affect the expansion of the concrete jungle? The point is that the smaller the school, the smaller the area, the easier it is to do all those things, to have better teachers, to have a cleaner environment, to have better roads with less traffic on them. The road just below that I was showing you, I live on that road. And it's a beautiful road. You drive out, it's one of my favorite drives in this Jeep. Top off, sometimes the door's off. By the way, if you're a Jeep person, let me know, okay? I have a link in the description box for email. Let me know if you're a Jeep person. You know, we'll stick together on this. I love Jeeps, by the way. But, you know, I would take these drives out to the country. But now you look through and you get to a certain point, you finally bypass the development. And listen, I have nothing against these people. They're not from my hometown, and some people argue with me, and I ask them, hey, how long have you lived here? I've lived here all my life. So don't tell me what I need to think or need to believe. And that's what happens here with a lot of these folks are right-wing people, by the way. Yeah. I have a little hitch in my step when it comes to right-wing people, because these are the people that are the problem. They don't care who they step on. They don't realize they're even stepping on people. They think it's their God-given right to develop and to tear trees down and to build homes and to take over the school system and take over. Listen, the county fair's next week, and I'm going to be broadcasting from the county fair. Stay tuned for that. Last year was an election year, and I'll tell you this. The county that was the rural county 20 years ago, that was farming county, is now turned into a shit show. Not the same fair. It was inundated with Trump signs. It became so political. It was sad. This county, Washington County, has become more right-wing than it has been in 30 years, or ever. And of course, that affects everything as well. Development will be allowed to pass. There won't be any development plans that keeps forests and farms in mind. You see where I'm going with this? There's no one in county government. There's no one in state government. Very few. And no one in the federal government anymore that cares about environmentalism, that cares about maybe we should measure how many cul-de-sac communities we build. Let's limit things. I know it's a dollar thing, but let the time out. Let's limit things. Let's come up with a plan. Let's do some math. Let's do some interviews. Let's do some research and say, listen, that's enough. We're maxed out here. That's enough, because the roads can't handle it. The sewage system can't handle it. The power system can't handle it. We still have to pay for water. We have to put in drainage, which is always a problem. The environmental impact for animals, for the ground. Let's talk about it. But there's none. That's what gets me. There's no conversation. Zero about it. We're just going to develop. Stamp, rubber stamp it. North Strabane Township's right next door to us. Huge landmass. Very wealthy township now. A lot of rich homes there. And they're going to build more and more rich homes, which is the next thing I have. These homes that are here are not cheap. They're not even big homes. You're looking at $500,000. $500,000. The homes they're building, people like me can't afford. Listen, and I'm sure if you're watching this video, you probably can't afford them either, because you're watching someone like me. You probably are in the same boat, maybe. Listen, we need to reconsider how we live. And that's not just in a spiritual sense. It's in a physical sense as well. But so often now, the spiritual people have become so political and so measured in what they want from the world. And that is more money, more wealth, more power. The rest of us who were sitting here hoping this stretch of farmland's never sold, the Lucian family who owns it never sells it, so they can develop it. That would be devastating. The view would be gone. And that's not just here. That's throughout the county. I drove to Finleyville the other day, which is a very rural area. And there was a massive farm. It had land on both sides. Beautiful farmhouse. They're tearing it down. They're going to put 400 homes there. And of course, on that road to Finleyville, there's already a dozen communities. 2-lane road. And of course, everybody then has to go to the main central area of that community, the crossroads, to shop. And of course, that becomes a cluster as well. Why do we think this is okay? That's my question to you folks. Why do we think this is all okay? Why do we put up with it? Why don't we rise up and say, stop? I'm trying to do my part here and on this video. And this goes without saying. Donald Trump needs to be stopped too, because he's the most anti-environmental president we've ever had. And he will destroy this environment. If given the chance, he will rape it. And that's what he wants to do, because he doesn't care about birds and fish and deer. He doesn't care about healthy air and healthy water. He doesn't care about the ground is polluted, that even growing vegetables is tough because the ground has been polluted over the years. He doesn't care. And there are many people just like him. They'll say, hey, listen, progress is important. Is it? Is it? We haven't really done anything new here in years. We haven't gone to space in how many years? See, how do you measure progress? We just did a video on Nights Around the Fire. By the way, we do have a sister channel I'm on with two other ladies, Sue Taylor and Ashley Hamilton. Nights Around the Fire, we talk about conspiracies, legends, and myths. We just had one on the fake moon landing. Was it fake? The point was in the video that even so, even if you believe that that's all real, what have we done since? Where's the big jump in technology? Don't call me and say it's AI, because no, that's been around a long time. Where has the big jump been in technology? Where have we gotten things better? We haven't. We're now just living in a systematic decline of our natural world. That's what we're seeing. Not just here, around the world. And only me and you can stop that. And maybe you don't care, that's fine. If you don't care, move on. Nothing to see here. But I care. I care about what I see looking out from this ridge here. I care about wanting to see trees and farmland. I'd love to see farms come back. They won't. The people who had them farms, their children will sell in a minute to a developer. They'll sell it in a minute because they don't want to farm. They want to go work in IT. And now that's even more difficult because there's so many people that want in those fields. No one wants a farm. Farming, I'd love to be able to farm. Friends, if you got a farm in this area, do you want to say, hey, David, it's yours? Maybe you can afford to give me that farm with a house? I'll take it. I'll take it, my friends. Because there's something about being part of nature, being part of the system that keeps us fed. It keeps a balance of nature. The balance is gone. Concrete jungle, yeah, it is a concrete jungle. And it's spreading farther and farther. And you have so many areas where we can develop that we can separate some of these cities, clean them out a little bit. And I will finish with this. Another issue is we don't have any transportation systems here in the United States. So even if you lived farther away and you can build places farther away, separate the concrete jungle with forest. Yeah, I know, Hunger Games, you might think, maybe, but no. In a legitimate way, there's no way to get here quickly. There's no high-speed trains. There's no transportation. Again, a failure of our U.S. government, of every president, allowing automobile companies and oil companies to dictate, what you're going to do here in the United States, how many resources will be spent towards building infrastructure for high-speed trains and rail. We never did it. We allowed these companies to take over, and everybody's got to have their fancy Lexus or BMW. Everybody. I know, I'm jumping around here. Listen, I'm going to close now. Listen, God bless you. Send me some information. Let me know what you think. I know I have a lot of people the downvoters, I have a lot of people still watching that hate me. They literally hate me. They're right-wingers, Christian nationalists, people that I rail against quite often here, Trumpers. Listen, I'm just a guy that tries to do the right thing. And that right thing to me is something I learned when I was a kid. And if you didn't learn it, or if you just got inundated with the crazy right-wing narrative, which I did for a while. I did a video on that. If you didn't see the video, go watch it. I think it's called I Was a Right-Wing Crazy or something. I don't know. Go watch it. I was that guy. But listen, it doesn't take a lot for me to revert back and say, listen, it's a beautiful hazy day. There's something about hazy days, magical to me. And I'm up here at a place I really love in this area, and sometimes I just shake my head. So, hey, if you're for me, let me know. Don't forget to go over to Nights Around the Fire. There's a link in the description box for that channel. Me, Sue, and Ashley will appreciate it. There's more videos coming up there. Go back and check out my other videos. Remember, love your neighbor as yourself. God bless you, and I'll see you next time on The David Tomsic Show, fighting for your environment. God bless.